In this video, I'm going to teach you guys how to play Awakening Woosa. And so what are we waiting for? Let's get this started. Oh, and I just forgot to tell you that I actually played all the classes again, and this video took me about a month to make. And if you guys want to see my 2.0 tier list video about it, feel free to stop by because it's gonna happen this week or probably next week. And for those people who doesn't know about me, I challenge myself to make all the class tutorial guides in the easiest matter way, so that way you guys can enjoy playing BDO as well. And so if you like this kind of content and want to see me progress in BDO, consider giving my videos a like and subscribe. Cheers. Try this combo, which is down LMB, and then after that Shift+RMB and then holding RMB. Boom, 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 boom. Lots of damage just like that. After that, let's learn some easy combos that we can do that has a nice flow, which is WE and then holding E just like this. Keep in mind though that if you use your ability on the first cast, it's going to use the second flow as well on the same direction even though you move your mouse. So for example, it will look something like this. So I press my WE like this, and so I'm just holding E and I pointed right here, but then it was still attacking this way. And so that's kind of honestly the downside about Awakening Woosa for that one, is that, you know, it stays in the same locations. I wish it would kind of maybe, you know, go to this direction if I wanted to. And so maybe PA might change it, who knows, right? But for now, keep in mind that if you guys do the flow ability, it's just gonna stay exactly where the first one was. And so it's really easy for PvP wise for the enemies to predict that, right? And so, you know, like if they see the line, then they just don't go in there, right? And so that's really downside about it. And so PA, please fix this, maybe, hopefully. That'll be really nice buff for Awakening Woosa for PvP. Try this combo, which is SE, but then this one, the flow can actually move to where your camera wants to be. So for example, it will look something like this. So SE, and then like this, move your camera like this. And then the second one will go over here, depending on where you guys look at on your screen. Keep in mind, this is going to be your favorite CC to give an enemy a CC basically, and then try to give a knockdown after that for follow-up. And then doing your combos that I'm going to teach you guys later. And so yeah, just keep in mind that's a really nice CC skill that you guys can use on PvP scenarios. Try this combo as well, which is pressing Shift E and then holding E. Has a nice CCs, and so that's also a good way to stun your enemies. Just keep in mind half of our abilities are flow. So for example, we learned about down E and then holding E. We learned about WE and then holding E, and then Shift E and then holding E. And so that's all the easy combo that I just taught you guys there. Is if there's a line right here, guys, that's the flow. And so what that means is that there's gonna be a easy like skill combos that you guys can use after using your first ability. And then on the last ones, we have Life Lure, which is Shift+RMB and then holding RMB, and then uses this combo. But then remember, on the very beginning of my video, I taught you guys the down LMB and then holding Shift+RMB and then holding RMB. That basically used the half of, you know, Awakening Woosa's skills. And so just keep that in mind that, you know, if you guys are PvE grinding, this is what you guys want to do. And then just like that, we just use 6 abilities, easy clap, just like that. Now let's talk about her skills. We have E buff right here, and if we put a hotkey right here, usually I like to put it on a tab, for example, and then if we do so, we get all AP plus 25, critical hit rate of 50%, and all DP plus 20, max HP 500. And so that right there, all DP plus 20, just already tells us that Woosa is a DP class and not evasion. And so keep that in mind that she goes DP build instead of evasion build. And so yeah, that's something that you guys need to know later on in late game. Next, we have a skill called Blood Flower, and so we also need to put this on a hotkey. And if we do so, and let's say that your teammates are around you, all you have to do is press number 2 and then give him a buff. And if they were around, and they can basically get these kind of buff for 30 seconds, which will recover them of 200 for 30 seconds and then 100 for 30 seconds for MP as well. Next, we have a skill called Soul Cleanse. All we have to do is press RMB and then use the ability. And then after that, if you guys want to do something fancy, you guys can press A or D, which is left or right. And then after that, holding RMB can make her teleport a little bit, and then also use ability like this. And then the cooldown is really short, it's only 3 seconds. So keep that in mind and try to get people CC, because if you guys land on the enemy, it gives them a knockback. This is a good skill to use when you guys are far away and want to give CCs and debuffs to the enemy. And so if you guys hover this right here, it gives all AP minus 20 for the enemy, and then you guys can also recover 60 HP per attack. And so just keep that in mind that you guys use this ability far away. And then you guys can move your camera and then give another direction for CC as well. And so just keep that in mind and want to spam that as much as you can for PvP, because it also has a forward guard and it's really nice to use for protection in front of you. And then you guys can give another CC if you guys want on the second person, just like that in that scenario. Nether Blast is down LMB, and if you use this ability, keep in mind that we actually get all AP plus 20. And so that's the reason why I tell you guys to do down LMB in the very beginning and then do Shift+RMB and then holding RMB because of that reason. And so after buffing ourselves up and then just doing all this easy combo for PvE grinding, right, we can get ourselves critical hit rate of 50% and all AP plus 20. And so yeah, I highly recommend starting down LMB first before you guys do your combos for PvP or PvE or anything in general. This is gonna be your favorite skill because it has a knockdown on the enemy. So Nether Strike is F, and so if you press F, it gives them a knockdown, and the cooldown is really short. It's only 5 seconds. So on this scenario, let's say that we do down E and then get enemy on stiff, right, or floating. Then what we do is teleport on them and then press F, right, and then they get knocked down, and then we can do like easy combo that we just learned right previously. And then if you're too close on the enemy, just press spacebar and see what happens, right? You can easily back off to the enemy just by holding spacebar after your combo, and so just keep that in mind. Next, we're going to talk about Soul Shower. If you use this ability on the enemy, it gives them a debuff of all DP minus 20. So this is a really good debuff to the PvP or PvE. And so this is what you guys want to start off with, honestly, right? It has a really long lineup and lots of AoE. And so you guys want to start that off, and then after that doing your, down LMB, Shift+RMB, and then holding RMB combo, something like that, for example. Next, we have Sahi's Decent, and in order to use this ability is Shift+LMB, and then he has a forward guard as well, and lots of damage. And so yeah, that's a really good skill if you guys don't know what to do. Has a protection, has damage, and so definitely use that on your PvP scenario. Next, let's talk about Mark of the Moon. And so in order to use this ability is Shift E, and also it has a Black Spirit Rage on this one. And so for example, let's say that we have 100% right here. All we have to do is press Shift E and see what happens. You guys see a nice moon and lots of AoE damage. But then the casting is really long. You can get animation stuck from doing that, and so just keep that in mind as you guys use that ability for BSR. When you're normally using the Shift E, it has a recovery of 250 HP per attack, 3 hits. And so let's say that we need healing. All you guys have to do is press Shift E, and then we can get some health back just like that. And so keep that in mind. If you need HP, just press Shift E, and then you can get your health back. Bloom Deluge, W+RMB, it's a very nice skill because it has a critical hit rate of 50%. So yeah, just keep that in mind to use that ability, and then it can give you guys a 50% critical hit rate buff. And then let's talk about her skill enhancements. We have this one, and then we have this one, which is Flower, and then the Swirl. The Flower one is really nice because it has a super armor and then has a lots of damage versus this one. But then this one has a movement speed of debuff up to the enemy. And so this can be a really good skill for PvP, and I would say use this for PvE scenario. And then next we have Cloud Burst and Ink Stroke. I would definitely use Ink Stroke for PvP scenario, and then I will use Cloud Burst for the PvE scenario. It basically has 100% critical hit rate for this one, so lots of damage. And then this one only has 50% critical hit rate. However, it has a knockdown for CC, which is pressing Shift Z. Just like that. And so yeah, it's a really nice skill for PvP scenario. And then lastly, we have a Spring Blossom, and then we have Reinvigorate, and basically we have to put this on a hotkey like this, number 3. Personally, I think this is really cool skill because it has a recovery of 60% of HP to self, but then you do lose 250 MP for 5 seconds each time, and then max is 4 times, and then 80% of MP will be consumed. And so yeah, however, the above one, it only gives you 300 HP of recovery for 40 seconds. And so yeah, that one's also not too bad. And so it's really up to you guys what you guys want to use for these scenarios. And so someone got me down with this much of HP, and then if we use this ability of Spring Blossom, this is what it would look like. Boom. And now we have activated 300 HP recovery. And so it gradually, heals up. And so that's actually not too bad versus the other one. And so yeah, it's really up to you guys. And keep in mind, it has a 40-second buff. And this one, the cooldown for this one is 50 seconds, right? So you guys can basically turn this on after 10 seconds after that, right? And so it's not too bad actually. And you guys can get a free HP recovery. And so yeah. So if you want to heal right away, this is where it's at. If you want the gradual heals, this is where it's at. So for PvE, this will be really good. For PvP scenarios, I think this can be very, very good. That's about it for Awakening. As you guys can see, it's much simpler than Succession, and the skills are not bad, right? There's a lot of flow skills that you guys can use. And so, it's not a difficult class for sure. I would definitely say Awakening is definitely easier versus playing Succession. And if you guys want to be fancy and wants to use main skill here as well, this is what you guys can do in this scenario. So for example, when we're doing movement skills combos, for example, and then let's say that we did Shift Q, which is one of the main skill, and then after that teleport again and then press E, and then gives them an easy knockdown, right? And so that's another strategy you guys can do in that scenario. And there's another cool method. All you have to do is go to main and then just lock the F and see what happens. Because if you guys unlock it, and then if you do Shift Q and then press F, this is what it looks like. Right? And still uses the main skill, but guess what happens if you lock it? Something amazing happens. So if you do Shift Q again, and then after that teleport and just press F, and then we actually go back to Awakening right away by using this skill called Nether Strike. And then look at this. Remember the Shift+RMB? You guys can also add this in the combo on number 4 on a hotkey, for example. And so let's say that we actually land a hit on the enemy with the Shift Q, landed with the E. What you have to do is press number 4 and then hold RMB, and that's it. And then you guys can do a combo just like that in that scenario. So don't forget guys, all you have to do is hover here, and then if you guys can see something like can be used via a quick slot with your swallowtail fan. And so that's the stuff that you guys need to look into. And then if you guys can see that, that means put it on a hotkey. And then if you guys are on a Succession skill, or I would say main skills, like holding a fan for example, all you have to do is press number 4 and then uses the Awakening skills, right? And then all you have to do is press RMB, because we already know that combo that I just taught you previously. For her movement skills, we have fading steps right here on the main. All you have to do is scroll all the way down to secondary, and then she has this one and this one. And so we can basically do Shift W, W, and then teleports twice, or we can do sideways and then forward as well, like a chess. And then we also have butterfly step, which we also can use as well, which is Shift spacebar. And then just goes like that. Try this fancy trick. All you guys have to do is using F, which is using the knockdown on Awakening. But then if you guys press LMB after that, it uses Tiger Fly and then goes behind the enemy, and it will look something like this. And so if you guys want to do some kind of back attack, that's where it's at. And so yeah, just keep that in mind. So I have put down some skills that you guys need to memorize and understand, so that way you guys can be really good on PvP. So for example, we have CC protection, which is all these skills right here, which is Shift E and then holding E and then Shift Q. And then we have protection with damage, which is SF, or just using, some kind of skill and then pressing spacebar, or Shift+LMB, or WE and then holding E. And then we have a CC without protection, which is RMB, or you guys can move. I would highly recommend pressing A or D and then using this ability for Soul Cleanse. And so let's go together, and it would look something like this. So we're gonna do practice of movement skill, and so we're going to start with Shift E first, and it will look something like this. Shift E and hold it, and we have a forward guard, and it has a really nice CC. After that, we're going to use Shift Q, which is Absolute Stormfall, and it will look something like this. And if they actually get a land on the CC, don't forget to press that E, or just press F if you locked it. Next, we're going to go with protection with damage. We're gonna start with SF, so movement SF. After that, movement, Shift+LMB. Next stop, WE, and so movement and WE, and then hold E. Next, movement and then Shift F, which is Moonlight Blast. And then we can use a CC without protection, which is Soul Cleanse, which is RMB, or movement RMB, which I really prefer. And then most important CC that you guys should know was down E as well, and then holding E as well. And keep in mind, on the very beginning, it does not have any forward guard. But then later on, it does have a forward guard, and so just keep that in mind. Or if you guys use the selected skills right here, it has forward guard right here. And so if you guys use this for selected skills, now you guys can be fully protected. And so in the very beginning, notice how there was no forward guard, like here. And then now there's a forward guard. And so if we use this, now it's going to make us have fully protected for forward guard. And it will look something like this. So once again, let's get this one right here. And then after that, let's press SE and see what happens. See, now we have protection 24/7 when we're using that ability. And so I would really recommend using that for that scenario if you really want to, because I think it's really good skill to just give CCs on the enemy. However, once again, it's a really long range skill to use. So for example, if you're like this far, try using it on the enemy and it still reaches to the enemy. And so, you know, maybe it's not really necessary to use for this selected skills. And so let's move on to the next selected skill that we can talk about is right here, which is Nether Blast. And if you use this ability, remember we do get a buff of all AP plus 20, but keep in mind that we do like to use this when we're far away from the enemy, and if you do so, you give them a nice stiff as well. But if you're this close, and then if you actually give them some kind of CC and then give him a knockdown, now we want to do down LMB and then fully buffed, and then using our ability is also another great way. And so I would definitely not use this for forward guard on this scenario. So the next selected skill we're going to talk about is Nether Strike, and I think this is going to be a good one for selected skills. And the reason behind that is if you guys use this ability now, it has protection and you guys can spam it for every 5 seconds. And so if you guys want to use that ability and try to give a CC to the enemy, I think that's a really good idea in order to do so. But if you guys want the guarantee kill, then I would maybe not use it, because if you do get some kind of CC like this and then teleport, and then we need to make sure our F is up, and then after that we can do our combos later on down below to teach you. And so it's really up to you if you guys want to use that forward guard right there. Next we have a selected skill for Soul Shower, and if you guys remember Soul Shower, it gives debuff to the enemy all DP minus 20. And so it's really up to you guys if you guys want to do that one as well. If you use this ability, it has a stun if you do activate it on selected skill. And so it's really up to you guys if you guys want some more CCs on the enemy. This is what you guys can do on that scenario. And then same thing with Mark of the Moon. Just like the Blooming Death, it does not have a forward guard in the very beginning, and so keep that in mind just like this. So if you do Shift E, it does not have forward guard, and then it has a forward guard after we, you know, cast something on our book. And so yeah, it's really up to you guys to use this as well if you guys want to have a 24/7 protected for forward guarding. So once again, it will look something like this. Now we activated it, and now let's press Shift E and see what happens. Now we are fully protected in the very beginning. And then lastly, we have Sahi's Descent. And so for this one is Shift+LMB, and it has a bound. And so, you know, if you guys want more CC as well, once again, boom, and now he has a bound. So it's really up to you guys, but you know, it's really easy to dodge those because the animation is freaking long in this class for some reason. And so yeah, I highly maybe not recommend it for this scenario. So I would say here for selected skills, I think the winner would be Soul Shower for me, and the reason behind that is he already has a super armor, and then if you do WE, you know, it gives him a nice stun. So what do? Go close and then give him a knockdown, and then we can basically do our combos that I taught you guys, which is down LMB and then Shift+RMB and then holding RMB, for example. And so yeah, I really think Soul Shower is the winner here for selected skills. Guess what time it is? It's time for combos. This is a scenario where you guys get somehow a CC, and then all we have to do is just give a knockdown and then doing combos after. And so yeah, it will look something like this. So what we need to do now is Shift Q and then give some kind of CC. If they land a CC, do Filleting Step for cancel animation, and then F for second knockdown. And then after that, WE for debuff, SLMB, and then Shift+RMB, and then hold that freaking RMB until you guys go all the way down to Soul Cleanse. And then after that, you guys have to just press spacebar, and that's it. And he backs away smoothly just like that, and then just throw some, you know, blue balls at them, and yeah, they get more damage. Easy clap. Then if you guys want to be fancy, don't forget to press F for knockdown and then holding LMB to go behind the enemy so you guys can give like back attack, for example. So it will look something like this. It's basically same thing, Shift Q, movement, knockdown, and then just hold LMB. And then after that, the combos are same, right? And that's it with my part 1 tutorial video. Hopefully you guys liked it, enjoy my content. If you guys do so, please don't forget to like and subscribe. If not, I'm going to write your name in my naughty list, and so yeah, you better watch out. Thanks for coming in, and I'll catch you guys next time. Ciao.